Every night, when the whole village went dark, one small light stayed on. No one talked about it. No one questioned it. But one curious child wondered, why does this light never sleep? What he discovered changed how an entire village understood kindness. In a quiet village surrounded by neem trees and narrow mud roads, nights arrived gently. By the time the moon climbed high, doors were closed, windows were shut, and oil lamps were blown out one by one. The village slept early, because mornings began early. Crickets sang softly. The wind whispered through trees, and darkness wrapped the village like a blanket. Almost complete darkness. Almost. At the far end of the village road, near the old banyan tree, one small yellow light stayed on every night. Not bright, not loud, just steady. Every house went dark. But that light remained. People noticed it, but never spoke about it. In a small house nearby lived a young boy named Ishan. Ishan was curious by nature. Every night, as he lay beside his mother, staring at the ceiling, his eyes would drift toward the window. And there it was again. That same light. Still on. One night, Ishan finally whispered, "Amma, why is that light always on?" His mother smiled gently. "Some lights are left on for a reason, son." "But what reason?" Ishan asked. She tucked the blanket around him and said, "Sleep now. Some answers come when we are ready." Days turned into weeks. Festivals came and went. Rains fell. Winters arrived. Yet every night, the light stayed on. Travelers passing through the village slowed down when they saw it. Elders rested near it. Children felt safer walking past it. Still, no one questioned it. As Ishan grew older, his curiosity grew stronger. He noticed something else. Whenever someone was lost at night, whenever a stranger arrived late, whenever a child cried after dark, they somehow found their way because of that light. One evening, Ishan sat beside old Raghav, the village's oldest resident. "Dada," Ishan asked, "who keeps that light on?" Old Raghav closed his eyes slowly. "That light has been there longer than most of us." "But who lights it?" Ishan insisted. Raghav replied, "Someone who believes darkness should never win." One monsoon night, the sky roared. Rain poured like drums beating. Thunder shook the roofs. The power went out completely. The village sunk into darkness. Children cried. Dogs barked. Fear filled the air. But through the rain, that light still glowed. That same night, a tired traveler entered the village road. Cold, wet, scared. He almost turned back, until he saw the light. It guided him safely into the village. Later, he said, "If not for that light, I wouldn't have survived." That night, Ishan couldn't sleep. He made a quiet decision. Tomorrow, he would find out who kept the light on. Early morning, Ishan walked toward the banyan tree. He noticed something small. A simple clay diya. A wick replaced daily. Oil refilled carefully. Someone was taking great care. That evening, instead of sleeping, Ishan waited. When the village lights went out, footsteps approached. Slow, gentle. To Ishan's surprise, it was Shanta auntie, a quiet elderly woman who lived alone. She cleaned the diya, refilled the oil, lit it carefully. Then she whispered, "May this light help someone tonight," and walked away. The next day, Ishan visited her home. She smiled kindly. Years ago, she said, her son had gotten lost on a dark road. No light guided him. He never returned. "So I decided," she said softly, "no one else should feel that fear." Ishan's eyes filled with tears. All these years, no praise, no thanks, no recognition, just quiet kindness. That night, Ishan brought oil with him. Without words, he placed it beside the diya. Shanta auntie smiled. The light shone brighter. The next night, another villager added oil. The next week, someone built a small shelter above the diya. Slowly, the village joined in. The light was no longer just a diya. It became a promise. A promise that someone cares. A promise that no one is alone. Parents told their children, "Be like the light. Stay on when others need you." Children listened. Ishan grew older. Shanta auntie grew weaker. But the light never went off. One peaceful morning, Shanta auntie passed away. The village mourned. That night, the light burned brighter than ever. Ishan became the keeper, not because he was asked, but because he understood. From far away, travelers could see it. A small light. Steady, warm, unmoving. Years later, Ishan whispered to his child, "That light doesn't belong to us. We belong to it." The light stayed on, not because it was powerful, but because it was faithful. Sometimes, the smallest light makes the biggest difference. You don't need to be loud to be important. You don't need praise to be kind. Be the light that stays on, especially when the world goes dark. Moral of the story: true goodness doesn't seek attention. It simply shows up every night for everyone.
If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And share it with your friends.